back to Lex Reads. So in today's video, as you can see from the title, I want to read books that are out of my comfort zone. And that was a goal of mine this year, just like it was last year, but I would say heavily this year in 2025. Now, y'all know I don't do horror, I don't do fantasy, I don't do science fiction. Those are like the three ones I'm like, no ma'am. Okay, the closest I've gotten to fantasy probably has been like magical realism, and I can kind of take that because they have like some realistic aspects, but I always say people flying in the air and stuff like that does not do anything for me. I also find with fantasy it's a lot of world building and I get really confused easily, girl. But I'm like, you know what, I do want to see if I can read it. The last fantasy book I did read was about 4 years ago, and it was the first Harry Potter, and I looked like I was trying to get into Harry Potter. I finished the first one, started the second one, and never finished it, and then I'm like done. I haven't picked it up since. And like I said, I wanted to get out of that comfort zone because last year I read a lot of things out of my comfort zone and realized that I really did enjoy them. For example, classics. So you guys are going to come along with me to the bookstore to see what books that I want to buy when it comes to fantasy. Now, I do want it to be black. I also want at least one to be a YA and then the other to be an adult fiction book. So yeah, you guys are going to come along with me. But before we get started, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So let's head to the store now. So I'm in my section that is out of my comfort zone, which is science fiction and young adult, and I think I'm gonna go with Tiffany Jackson.
Yeah. Keep your eyes on me about it. Get it, don't be tempted when you in it, about it. Love upon it, give alone, leave it. I don't want no good, baby, spread like it.
Okay, you guys, just got back. As you saw, I went through the science fiction section, I went through the fantasy section, the YA fantasy section, and the regular adult section. Also the same thing with the science fiction. And as you guys saw, I am curious about some books in those genres that are by Black authors. If you guys have read any of those, please let me know. The two authors that I did pick up, I've read one of them, and then the other, I have one book by them but haven't read it, but I am aware of them. So yes, and then also too, I did get a bonus book that I want to share with you guys. Okay, so first for the YA, as you guys saw again when I was in the store, I told you guys I was thinking about going with Tiffany Jackson, and the book that I picked up by her is The Weight of Blood. I have by her Allegedly. That's the only book I have by her. Never read it, and I do want to read that because I've heard a lot of people talk about that book and how good it was, but I have never read Tiffany D. Jackson. I just know of her and know that she's well known. When I was in the store, this one really did intrigue me because it's something that I am kind of aware of. Isn't it is it a retelling kind of, or I shouldn't say retelling, but is it inspired by Carrie, which is, what's the guy that wrote out of scary stuff? Y'all know Stephen King. Now, I have never seen Carrie. Okay, I don't want to see the one in 1970, nor do I want to see the one that had a couple years ago. The only thing I have seen by oh boy is Misery, and I can barely take that. Okay, but this one, like I said, it really did intrigue me. And when I tell you, they have so many blurbs of like people just saying how good it is, spectacular, kills it, thrilling, brilliant, bone chilling, horror done right. Now this is a horror novel, and y'all know, again, out of my comfort zone, I would say the only horror novel I have read is Phantom of the Opera, and I mean, that is horror, clearly, because what Phantom does, I mean, girl. But I don't know. I grew up on Phantom of the Opera. I grew up on the musical, I would say. So I sometimes, like, I don't equate that with horror, but it actually is. Because, yeah, like I said, what he do is just crazy. But this one, it says, when Springfield residents, at least the ones still alive, are questioned about what happened on prom night, they all have the same explanation. Maddie did it. Outcast, Madison Washington has always been a target for bullying, and she dealt with it until a surprise rainstorm reveals her most closely kept secret. Maddie is biracial and has been passing for white her entire life. After a viral bullying video pulls back the curtain on Springfield High's racist roots, student leaders devise a plan to change their image. Hosts the school's first integrated prom, the popular white girl president convinces her black superstar quarterback boyfriend to ask Maddie to be his date. But some of her classmates aren't done with her just yet. Little do they know, Maddie still has another secret, and that one will cost them all their lives. So isn't that kind of giving you a little bit, Carrie? Because I know she got them together, right? First of all, it would intrigue me, passing. Y'all know that is one subject that I really do like reading about, because during the Harlem Renaissance, that's like the main, subject matter that they talk about. And, I know Harlem Renaissance is my stuff. So I really am excited about this. And then the next book you guys also saw me pull out, I said, you know what? This is an author that I have read one of their books before. And the first time I read them was in college. And I actually still have the book that I bought in college, and it is Octavia Butler, Parable of the Sawyer. I can't even tell y'all what this is about. I just know, isn't this a girl named Lauren? Oh, girl. Yeah, I need to read this again. That's the only Octavia Butler book I have read, and I know people rant and rave about Octavia Butler. And the first one book I actually was going to get of hers was going to be Kendrick, because like every time when I looked up like what book to start with her or get, it was Kendrick. But I'm like, I don't want to start with that, which I eventually do want to read that. And I remember before I even was going to read that, I think about maybe 2 years ago, Hulu came up with that series, Kendrick, which I know was like whack. A lot of people said, it's not even, don't even waste your time. And when I tell you, when I tried to watch it, I'm like, this is not holding my interest. So yeah, I do need to read Kendrick. But the book that I did get, and the cover got me, and also too, a synopsis got me. It is Fledgling. These covers, the new release covers of her books, oh my gosh, they are so pretty and so like vibrant. So this one, it says, Shori is a mystery, seemingly a young girl who wakes up alone in the woods with critical wounds and traumatic insomnia, only to learn she is actually a 53-year-old vampire, the lost child of an ancient species that is driven by blood and lives in dark humanity. Genetically modified to be able to walk in daylight, Shari must use her rare gift to uncover whatever she can about her old life and figure out who wants to destroy her and the rest of her kind. Yeah. Oh, Lord. Okay. Vampires and ancient species. Lord, take the wheel. This cover, y'all. Look at this. Oh my gosh. And also, I was trying to make sure that I got a book by hers that wasn't a series. I kind of wanted to do a standalone, because me with series, I feel obligated to read the whole thing sometimes, and I just wanted to start out with something that was not a series. And the last book I got, I didn't show you guys when I was in the store, but I said, you know what, it's out of my comfort zone, and it's first of all, it's a classic book, and you guys know I've been in my classic bag since last year, and I have, like I said, transported it over to this year so far. But the author is Edgar Allan Poe, and the book is The Fall of the House of Usher and Other Writings. The crazy thing is, I know a little bit of the story of the fall of the House of Usher. My aunt was a English and drama teacher, and as scary as she was, she actually liked this story and would talk about it. And I think I've seen bits and pieces of the movie, with Vincent Price back in, is it either the 50s or the 60s, but I cannot remember anything. Now I do have a collection of poems by him and some short stories. I actually did get it from Barnes and Noble a couple years ago. My sister bought it for me for my birthday, and this is the complete tales and poems of Edgar Allan Poe. But I wanted this because it's the Penguin Classic edition. Y'all know how much I love the black spines, and then this is just too heavy to tote around and all this stuff like that. So yeah, also I know with science fiction and horror and fantasy, I am going to have to annotate it. It's going to just be easier for me to carry it around. And then another story that I do want to read, I was doing a little bit of research when I was at the store, is, where is the context? Where The Murders in the Rue Mirage, I believe. So that was published in 1841. It's recognized as the first modern detective story. Poe's reference to it is one of its tales of reincarnation, his conception of analyzing a fictional crime to find the results, brand new ideas in its day. Oh Lord. Poe's amateur detective C. August takes an interest in the murder in Paris of two women. It was terribly brutal but difficult to categorize these appearances to be no robbery or sexual assault, no obvious reasons for the crime. The newspaper carries sensation headlines, get set for a step back in the history of detective fiction that leaves the impression that it was written just a short while ago. Okay, does sound interesting. Also, I don't read a lot of detective novels, so that is something that's out of my comfort zone. Also, two women getting murdered and all that. That's another thing that's out of my comfort zone. So yeah, that's one that I want to read. So those are the two stories so far that I do want to read. I have heard about The Pit and the Pendulum. I can't really remember what that's about, so I might look that up. He has something called William Wilson. I don't know what that's about. These titles are very intriguing. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna have to read this though during the day. I can't read this at nighttime. That's not gonna work for me. So yeah, guys, that is it when it comes to reading out of my comfort zone, going to read out of my comfort zone. The next thing that I'm going to do is a separate video of me reading, one of these books. It's gonna be a whole week. So I'll do like a whole week of me reading, a book out of my comfort zone. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. But if I like it, look, I might go down another rabbit hole of liking fantasy books and horror, which I probably don't think the horror go be. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Maybe the fantasy. I can kind of take a little bit of the fantasy, but the horror, I'm like I said, I want to give it a try because I haven't really read any, in that genre, that I would consider very, very, very scary. So, yeah, guys, that is it for this video, and I'll be back with more black books. Bye.